What's up, military millionaires? I'm David Perret, and today I want to talk to you about 13 of the best benefits for utilizing your VA loan. Now, these will absolutely help you build wealth. They can help you get rich, and in some cases, they can do it without you needing any of that money crap to get started, which is great because service members don't get paid very much. Okay, I lied. I actually don't believe that, but if you did, then you need to watch all this crap because it's going to help you build wealth. Also, subscribe to the channel. Click that little like bell and the notification thingy so that you find out when new videos come out. I'm going to be doing a lot more information on the VA loan, how to hunt down a realtor, and tools that I use for real estate investing in order to help you build wealth faster, more efficiently, and yada da 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 da. Intro. The first incredible benefit of the VA loan is obviously that there is no need for a down payment. Now, there are stipulations depending on how you purchase. You may need to have closing costs, some money for closing costs, or they could be paid by your seller, but the down payment does not, there's no down payment required. Now, if you're using it after you've used up a large portion of your entitlement, you might be required to put down 25% of whatever you go over on that entitlement, but I digress. On your first purchase with the VA loan, zero down is 100% a thing, no money out of pocket. I have seen service members buy over $1 million properties, including an E5 I know single who bought a $1.2 million property and got paid at closing. So it's definitely possible. Benefit number two is no PMI. And you might be thinking, but Dave, what the fuck's PMI? And the answer is private mortgage insurance, which is utilized on any conventional loan or the FHA loan when you don't put 20% down. So if you put 15% down, pay PMI until you're at 20% loan to value or 20% down, whatever. And so basically what this does is this covers the bank in the, unfortunate series of events where you end up foreclosing and that 20% that you should have put down that they allowed, like the FHA where you do like 3.5% down, that difference is covered by the private mortgage insurance. So this covers the banks, but it makes the loan less risky so that they can give you money. But the VA loan is guaranteed by the Department of Veteran Affairs, the government. And since the government is guaranteeing that 25% or 20% or whatever, there's no PMI required. Whoop, whoop. Number trace, lower interest rates, right? Like I'm not gonna give you a million statistics and data points to be like, this is how much lower it is, because it's gonna vary on your personal finances, the federal mortgage rate, and everything else, right? Like all kinds of variables. But historically, VA loan interest rates are lower than other loans, conventional mortgages, yada yada, because it's a lower risk loan. It's guaranteed by the government, which means that they can afford to take a smaller interest rate and therefore give you a lower interest rate because it's a safer product for them. That's how life works, right? The more risky the loan, the more you're paying in interest, which is why the VA loan's awesome. And that leads right into number four, which is VA loans are backed by the government, which means that it's a safer product and that helps you out with getting the zero down. So I'm not gonna elaborate on that because I just kind of did anyway. Number five, there's a lot of refinance opportunities. I don't know any other loan where you can refinance 100% loan to value and pull all of your cash out in a refi, but you can with a VA loan refinance. And that's not even the best product. The VA IRRRL, which is the Interest Rate Reduction Refinance Loan, or IRRRL, IRRRL, or also known as the Streamline Refinance Loan, or the super duper awesome VA refinance thingy. Man, I'm not even drinking. What is up with me tonight? Anyway, the IRRRL allows you to refi your home. You can't pull cash, but it allows you to do it as an interest rate reduction. So if you can lower your rate, you can utilize this after 235 days, I think, whatever, 2/3 of a year that you've had this loan out. And what it does is it allows you to lower your rate, lower your cost, and all you pay is like the closing costs of the new loan. Now, you definitely don't need to do this all the time, but you can only do it if it makes sense. The VA has strict guidelines, so you can only do it if you're gonna save so much money and you have to be able to repay it in, I think, 5 years from when your closing costs, whatever. So it has to be a win for you in order to do this. But like right now, where interest rates are 2 3/4, 2.5, 2 1/4, 3, whatever, a lot of people have been able to refi with the VA IRRRL. A couple of really cool things here. You don't have to live in the property anymore. It can be an investment property. It can be a rental at the time that you use the VA IRRRL, which is incredible. There's also no credit check. Now, they do have to pull your credit, right, to make sure you're alive and don't have whatever. But it doesn't require, there's no minimum credit score. Like they don't have, their credit doesn't go into the interest rate. They just have to, it's part of the process to pull your credit. But so just know that. But you don't have to have income verification either. So whereas purchasing the VA with a VA loan, you have to be able to show income, using the VA IRRRL, you don't, because, I don't know, it's awesome, right? So that's great because if you got out of the military after using the VA loan, you can still utilize the VA IRRRL to lower your interest rate, even if you are just going to school right now. Number 6, there's no prepayment penalty. Not really any need to elaborate on that, but it's nice to not pay a prepayment penalty if you pay the loan off faster, although I would argue there might be better use of your money depending on your personal situation and your risk tolerance. Number 7, lower closing costs, right? Typically, the VA loan is between 1 and 2%, 1 and 3% for closing costs, and that can vary depending on lender, but if you're paying more than 3%, probably something up. Make sure you check on that, right? There's some lenders out there who like to bake in fees or origination fees and additional things and whatever. Now, if you're paying down points to buy down your rate, that's a different thing, but just make sure you understand some of that. If you got questions, let me know. I'd be happy to hook you up with one of my lenders because they're awesome. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend them. In fact, we might build a mortgage company one day. Who knows? But you can even, they can pay, the seller can pay all of your closing costs. You can even walk away with cash. So there's a lot of opportunities here. Number 8, foreclosure assistance, right? Now, obviously, the VA loan's not going to come in and be like, we'll pay your debt back to ourselves to get you out of foreclosure. But you can call up, they have people on standby to help talk you through this, kind of help plan you through getting out of foreclosure, getting, the foreclosure process, whatever. They've got people on standby, financial counselors to help with this. And the VA loan's assumable, so worst case scenario, somebody else could assume your loan if it makes sense for them, rather than you going to foreclosure, which is nice. There's also some other programs, but those are kind of complex and not really in the scope of this video. But just know that there's more help for getting out of foreclosure, avoiding foreclosure with the VA loan than with some other conventional products. Oh, look at that. I did it again. The VA loan is assumable, which I explained what that means if you're like going into foreclosure. But another scenario where this makes sense, I had a friend who bought a house for, we'll say $600,000, I don't remember, and he got orders a lot faster than he thought. So he didn't pay down nearly as much of the debt of the principal as he thought, and it didn't appreciate nearly as much as he thought because he wasn't going to be there very long. This happened to be in an area where properties don't cash flow, so he's going to have to be coming out of pocket like $500 to $1,000 every month, even with a tenant, not including maintenance, right? So not a winning property, which is, that's okay if you plan on living there long term or going back there or you want to own there long term, but in this case, guy didn't want to do that, right? So he wanted to just get out from under it. He didn't want to be losing money on it all the time. He didn't really want to be waiting around 10, 15, 20 years for appreciation or faster, whatever, it all depends. But so in this case, what I recommended is rather than paying the 6% commission to sell it, because he would have been required to bring $20,000 to $30,000 down, basically he would have had to pay $20,000 or $30,000 to sell his house in order to pay the commission to the agent. He didn't really want to do that either. So I was like, man, well, maybe if you can find someone who can assume the loan on the house, it's not a bad house, it's not a bad price for that area. If they're going to be there for 3 years, they'll keep paying it down, it'll keep appreciating, win for everybody. Because they would have gotten whatever he'd already paid down, so there was a little bit of equity spread there too. I don't actually know if that worked out because I left and he, whatever, but that is a great option. If somebody can assume your loan, you don't have to pay those closing costs. Like, obviously you don't want to end up in that situation, but nice to know that that's an option. Number 10. This is a big one, guys. As of January 1st, 2020, there's no limit to how much money you can borrow with the VA loan on your first time use or once your entitlement's been restored. That means that if you want to buy a $1 million house, you can. If you want to buy a $2 million house, well, you better have good finances, but you can, right? Like, so it used to be capped per county at different amounts, and it was like $400,000 or $500,000 on average, up to like I think $725,000 was the highest. Those rates have since gone up depending on property values, but you get the point. So now, for the first time use, as long as your debt to income ratio and your personal finances allow it, you can borrow a whole lot more money right off the bat. I wish this had been the case when I lived in Hawaii. I would have absolutely bought a house. I would have loved to have owned out there. I also wish that this had been the case when I first got here to San Diego. I would have bought a fourplex, but it wasn't. I got locked into a 2-year lease. It is what it is. Some really cool opportunities with this. If you buy right, don't bite off more than you can chew, and don't just go buy a big freaking house. If you're gonna buy like $1 million home, it's gotta be something that cash flows, like a triplex or a fourplex, something that will pay you to own it, even if the market goes down, because if that happens, you've got to be able to ride the storm till it comes back up to be okay. You don't want to be stuck in that situation where you're underwater and you're paying every month to own a house. Not good. So I'm not telling you buy a house at every reduce station. I'm telling you this opens a lot of really cool opportunities. if you have the risk tolerance and the cojones and the finances and the ability to understand a good investment and a good agent. So again, I mentioned the lender. If you want to be introduced to one of my agents in wherever you're buying, let me know. I'd be happy to help you with that as well. And I'll put those links down in the bottom of the video. The VA loan can be used more than once. Yes, it can. That's number 11 or 11. Start using feet to do these numbers. Yes, you can use the VA loan more than once. Now, if you use it on one of these huge $1 million loans, probably going to be out of entitlement on your second usage. But if you use it on like a $200,000 home and your next place is a $500,000 cap, you could use it again for zero down for $300,000. Or if you go over that entitlement for your area for the second one, then you pay 25% of whatever that difference is. So if you have $400,000 left, you buy a $500,000 home, you'd only pay 25% on that extra $100,000 that you're going over the entitlement. A lot of stipulations, a lot of ups and downs and ifs and what ifs and if this then that's. Like, this is not a streamlined like yes, no, black, white. It's very, it flows depending on what you've got going on in your personal situation. So I get these questions all the time. The answer is it depends. I know that answer sucks, but it depends, right? There are a lot of ways that you can utilize this to your advantage and utilize it a second time, maybe a third time, restore your entitlement. If you refinance into a conventional loan or sell the home or, there's a lot of options. There's so many things. I just can't cover them here, right? It's just too much. So just know that you have options. You can use the VA loan more than once. I wish I'd known that. I would have used it the first time. Is what it is. Have a great day. I don't know why I said that. We're not done yet. Number 12. You guys know where I'm going with this. I'm a Marine. I probably need crayons to eat and count with or draw or I don't know. Look, 2 vets can utilize their entitlement. Now, there's a lot of ways that this can be beneficial. So if you and your spouse are dual mill and you use your VA loan, then instead of her or him having to use their VA loan on the next purchase, what you can do is use the remainder of yours and then the beginning of theirs, and then they would also have more. Or say you use mine on like $1 million home, well, then you could use their first on $1 million home and then use whatever's remaining for another one. There's options. Now, granted, you can't just buy one, buy another, and like, oh no, we live in both at the same time. But like, you got to play by the rules here for occupancy and intent to occupy and all this other stuff. But this is cool. You can also do dual mill, not family. So I have a buddy and another buddy, one of which happens to be like one of my killer agents that I refer people to, and the other is a friend who does some wholesaling and house flipping. They are looking right now to buy like a really crazy fourplex, and technically they could probably buy a 5plex because per guidelines, you know what, I'm not going to get into all that kermuddle things, but there are some pretty interesting situations out there once you get more vets mixed together. But they could go halvesies on this and buy a cool investment, or they could use all of one person's entitlement and then do it again in a year and use all of the other person's entitlement, and they could co-live or use 2 of the units and rent out the other 2, whatever. All kinds of opportunities. Just a cool spot to be in. And number 13, the VA house hack. Now, this is not technically like a VA loan benefit, but this is my favorite way to utilize this. I got all kinds of videos. If you go to my website, like FromMilitaryToMillionaire.com/house-hack, or I'll put a link down below, house hack, or if you just Google house hacking, I don't actually know if I rank yet. So if I don't, you should link to that and help me rank there. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Don't listen to my marketing self-promotion side. Look, house hacking is the most incredible strategy. I love it. It's when you rent out bedrooms of a house, like what I'm doing here, or rent out extra units of a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex, like I've done before, and a lot of my friends have done it. Or you rent out an ADU, a additional dwelling unit, or a mother-in-law suite. You rent out an RV, or you rent out your garage, or you build a unit in it, or you live in your garage and rent out the rest of the house. All kinds of options here where you can rent other pieces of your home so that people are paying you to live in your house and helping you pay down the mortgage. So many benefits here. I've got a ton of videos on this, but the house hacking with the VA loan is the best or an incredible way to get started in real estate investing. I love it. I highly recommend it. Absolutely check it out. So these have been 13 benefits of the VA loan. Now, this is definitely not all the benefits. This is not all inclusive. This is just a long list of things that I was like, that one's good, that one's good, that one's good, that one's good. I was like, oh, this is good. Let's talk about this. It started out at like 7, and then I was like, oh, and this, and this, and this, which is why they're not even in order. Like the VA house hack probably could have been number 1, but save the best for last. hope you made it this far. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and the notification bell. Look, we want to help service members and veterans build wealth. In fact, I'm going to help 1,000 service members and veterans buy houses that make sense, not just houses, but houses that make sense over the next 3 years. In fact, I'm probably going to do it in just the third year. I'll do first year, second year, and then 1,000 in the third year. So 2,000 or 3,000. We're going to help the whole freaking military become military millionaires. Whoop, whoop. If you want to help getting connected to one of my agents, one of the lenders I recommend, there's a little form down below, or you can go to my website /VA-Realtor. Happy to introduce you, or you can just go to the resource page. Happy to introduce you to someone in my team and help you buy a house that makes sense to build wealth. And really, that's all I got. I don't know. I feel like there should be some like super climatic ending, chlamydia ending, anti-chlamydic. The chlamydia was a joke, and then I got tongue-tied, so I don't know where that went. But we're gonna leave it in here because editing's for fools, and I'm in one of those goofy moods tonight. So you got, I don't know if we'd call it comedic relief or just what the fuck relief, but I'm here for you. So subscribe and get wealthy.